d4, knight d3. Rook f5, rook f3. Using the light squares effectively. Check out the bishop on b5, the knight on d3, the rook on f3. g5, rook g1, king f8. Even though black is 4 pawns for the bishop, how do you use your extra pawns? Fabiano Caruana is leading with 6.5 out of 9. Firouzja has 5.5 out of 9, and this will be the subject of this video. Later on, Fabiano took this game to victory to lead TATA Steel with 7 out of 10, and Firouzja still on 5.5 out of 10. Let's begin. Caruana has white, Firouzja has black. d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop g7, and now e4. Firouzja has played the King's Indian 24 times, but the Grunfeld only 3 times, so a King's Indian was no surprise to Caruana. e4, d6, h3, castle, bishop e3. White plans to expand on the king side and just play using the fact that in the King's Indian, white will get more space most of the time. In the past, Firouzja has had this position 3 times, and he's played e5, knight bd7 in those games. But here he surprises Caruana with knight c6. White grabs the space with d5, knight e5, f4. But this is black's strategy, provoking white to gain space in the center, but black plans to attack his center later. This is the King's Indian way. Knight d7, g4. An important move, if you played knight f3, black could strike with e5. And the point is, you don't have a move like f5 because take, and knight h5. This knight has the chance to go to f4. Even then, you don't have to take on f5. This is why Caruana, he spent 10 minutes on g4. You've got to stop knight h5. g4 played, and yes, it looks very impressive, but we will see how Firouzja dealt with this in the middle game. c6. Notice e5 is now not possible because of f5, and the knight on f6 cannot go to h5. Black is just so cramped, and I would say black is strategically lost. Back to the game, c6 played, planning to chip away at white's center. Knight f3, take, b6. Finding a way to attack the center. Black is planning knight c5, bishop b7, and possibly e6. Notice knight c5 here straight away is not good because take, e5, knight d7, queen c2. This was also a top level game. Gawain Jones had the white pieces against a 24-70 opponent, and later on went on to win. He castled queenside and just got a kingside attack because white has so much space in the center. Back to the game, b6, knight d4, knight c5, and queen f3 defending the center. But firstly, let's have a look at knight c6. The point is not really to attack the black queen on d8, but it's to get rid of this monstrous knight on c5. Because it's attacking the e4 pawn. Move the queen, take, and bishop g2, giving white just a couple of options. Maybe you castle kingside, or you go queen c2, then castle queenside. Perhaps he chose this variation, missing Firouzja's tactical shot in the center. Bishop b7, 13 minutes of thought. g5. You must play g5 because if you castle, then e6 and black really is chipping away at the center. Take, and e4 is going to fall. So this option is out. So g5, and now knight takes e4 is just such an unpleasant move for Caruana to meet. I don't think he's scared of this because Caruana can definitely calculate. He is third in the world after all. Forcing the capture, bishop d5, you have to throw in knight f6 check, take queen d5, rook e8, defending the bishop with knight c2, fg5, and now castle away. You don't want to take on g5 because bishop b2 and black's king is stranded. If you move the rook, you can just park the bishop. Bishop back to e5, bishop g7. So Caruana chose to castle away. fe4, bishop d4, must get rid of this King's Indian bishop. Take, knight e6, and now queen d2. Big decision here. You don't want to swap queens off because here, maybe black is doing okay in this ending. He's got 4 pawns versus 1 on the king side. Queen d2, keeping the queens on, retaining more winning chances. Queen f6, king b1, rook c8, bishop b5, rook d8, knight b4. White is playing on the light squares. d5, rook f1. You can't take on d5. Queen f5 check, black is winning because of back rank problems. King a1, rook takes d5 is a nice tactic. Queen d5 doesn't work because now black throws in the check, rook c1 check, deflecting, winning the queen. Rook f1 played by white, rook c5, defend your bishop, d4, knight d3. Rook f5, rook f3, using the light squares effectively. Check out the bishop on b5, the knight on d3, the rook on f3. g5, rook g1, king f8. Even though black is 4 pawns for the bishop, how do you use your extra pawns? h4, h6, take, rook h3. White is finding ways to come into the black position. f3, finally, putting them to use. Bishop c4, getting rid of this rock of a knight on e6. King e7. If you go f2, rook f1, we will just round this pawn up. If you go knight f4, rook f3, the pawn just goes. Black chose king e7, Caruana took it, king takes e6, queen h2. With the extra knight and the safer king, black is in big trouble. f2, rook f1, king d7, rook h6, the game is almost over. Queen e7, rook takes f2, take, king c8, a5, black can resign, but let's see the rest of this game. Taking the pawn, check, knight c5, forming a mating net. Rook d6, check, rook d8, now queen b3 check, king c7. If king a8, it is mate into take, mate. Queen b3 check, king c7 played. Queen b7 check, after king d6, rook h6 check, blocking f6, knight e4 check, and black had enough. What happens now if black plays on, if king e6? Let's just clean up, get rid of the black pawns. Knight g5 check is a nice one, forcing king d6, because you still have to defend the black queen. Knight back to e4 check, king e6, and now rook takes f6 check is a clean finish. If queen takes f6, knight takes f6, and that's it. But why not just win the house? Queen c6 check, grab the queen and the rook, king e5, take, and then that is the end of the game. Check out one video here and another video over here. If you enjoy the show, why not give it a like? It really does help this video out in the YouTube algorithm. Consider subscribing to the channel at the same time. Don't forget to hit that bell to get notified each time I release a new video. Thank you so much for watching.